We are very excited to present our work, MuSHRoom, Multi-Sensor Hybrid Room Dataset for Joint 3D Reconstruction and Novel View Synthesis. MuSHRoom Dataset provides 10 real-world indoor rooms captured by Kinect, iPhone, Faro Scanner. Kinect and iPhone work as consumer devices to collect RGBD videos as input, and the Faro Scanner collects high-resolution point clouds as reference geometry. To create a diverse dataset, we selected rooms with varying shapes, colours, and indoor objects. During the recording process, we ensured that objects within the rooms remained stationary to maintain consistency across devices, and that the objects recorded by each device were in the same position. We use an Azure Kinect depth camera to get synchronized depth and color images. For each room, we provide 2 RGBD sequences with keyframe pose and point cloud. Most of the previous methods select test frames from one sequence uniformly and use the left frames for training. However, this may not reflect the real case in AR/VR. It is common in real-world applications for users to first scan an entire room with a device and then wear AR glasses to interact with the environment from random positions and directions. Our goal is to simulate this scenario in order to create a more realistic evaluation method. We recorded 2 sequences inside each room with 1 long capture and 1 short capture. For the long capture, we try to include all the parts of the whole scene, and when capturing the short one, we attempt to follow a different motion trajectory. Following the same pattern with the Kinect device, we collect the second sequence with the iPhone as a test dataset. Faro Focus Laser Scanner fixed on a tripod is used to collect a high-resolution XYZ RGB point cloud. Kinect sequences are captured by Spectacular AI SDK to extract keyframe pose and point cloud. The depth is furthered in-painted by ZBuffer. iPhone sequences are captured by Polycam app to get keyframe pose and depth. Long sequences and short sequences are globally registered by ColMap. Faro Scanner is used to collect the geometry reference mesh with multiple high-resolution scans. We use reality capture to get reference mesh from the reference point cloud. Further expert cleaning is applied to move artifacts manually. The MuSHRoom dataset introduces several practical challenges, including sparse input, occlusion, motion blur, reflection, transparent objects, and significant illumination variations, which are detrimental to the training of the reconstruction and rendering models. We propose a new benchmark for developing unified frameworks that focus on realizing both immersive and structurally accurate modeling under real-world constraints. These frameworks are optimized for consumer-grade hardware and operate in an end-to-end fashion. They take as input RGBD sequences captured by consumer devices and output both accurate 3D mesh models and photorealistic images synthesized from novel views. We compare the methods for both the mesh reconstruction and novel view synthesis quality, quantitatively and qualitatively. For the method we used for evaluating geometric reconstruction, we project the predicted mesh and reference mesh to the 3 planes separately and remove vertices and their corresponding triangles of the predicted mesh that out of the contours of the projection of the reference mesh. After getting a predicted mesh that is not influenced by the outside surface, we only compare the parts owned by reference mesh. We test novel view synthesis with 2 comparison methods: testing within a single sequence and testing with a different sequence. When comparing with the testing within a single sequence method, we extract keyframes from one sequence as test data and training methods on the other frames of the same sequence. However, the uniform sampling method usually is not practical in VR/AR applications that require random trajectories. Thus, we propose a new evaluation protocol, testing with a different sequence, which uses one sequence for training and the other individual sequence for testing. Particularly, in the MuSHRoom dataset, we use the long capture for training and the short capture for testing based on the MuSHRoom dataset. The distances and directions of the camera from the same object will be significantly different in the two sequences, which poses a great challenge to the rendering robustness of the pipelines. We develop a new method for joint estimating 3D reconstruction and novel view synthesis. We first adopt a two-head structure to use separate multilayer perceptrons to predict SDF and density. This gives the density much more freedom and provides a trade-off between photorealism synthesis and structural accurate modelling. In addition, we apply data augmentation to solve one of the challenges released by our dataset, sparseness, to further boost the performance of our baseline. To control the learning process, we interpolate new poses along the trajectory between every two successive frames, rendering corresponding images and depth images from trained models that can let us get the best synthesis and depth effect in the experiments to further enrich the training dataset. We compare our work with volumetric fusion, Nefacto, GeoSurf and MuSHRoom quantitatively and qualitatively. The best result is marked with pink and the second best result is marked with yellow. Here are some more detailed qualitative comparisons. Nefacto provides the most details and fine-grained images, but they are not very robust when views change dramatically. GeoSurf and MuSHRoom are relatively much more robust, but they still lack details. We provide a more detailed qualitative comparison with novel view synthesis and mesh rendering results. Nefacto is excellent in rendering quality but is much worse than others in terms of mesh completeness. GeoSurf and MuSHRoom predict SDF, which regulates the mesh without ambiguity, but their synthesis qualities are worse than NERF. Nevertheless, our method provides a good trade-off for the reconstruction and rendering quality. Thanks for watching and please refer to our paper for more details.